I'm late, I'm late! I'm late! Today is March 5th and I am a few days late with posting my February wrap-up video, but better late than never, right? Okay, so I'm currently doing laundry, so we're downstairs for this video. Looks better than my unmade bed. So there's that. Anyways, you guys, before we get into this video, please don't forget to go ahead and drop a comment down below. Let me know what books you guys read in the month of February and if you would recommend any that you did read. I'm always looking for some more books to add to my never-ending TBR. So don't forget to do that. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more book content. Okay, so now let's get into it. So I read a total of 8 books in the month of February, and I kind of want to start with like my least favorite books and then work my way up to my most favorite books in this video. So that's what we're gonna do. So for the month of February, I did end up making like a romance reading vlog for the week before Valentine's Day. So I did read a lot of more romancy kind of books, but I did get to some thrillers as well. So those will probably be closer to the end of this video. The first book we're going to discuss is It's a Date Again by Geneva Rose. I rated this book 1.5 stars. This was my lowest rated book in the month of February, and I'll tell you why. It's a Date Again basically follows along the main character, Peyton. It is written in a first person POV. We follow along Peyton as she gets injured by a car, basically. She gets hit by a car and she ends up in the hospital with amnesia and doesn't remember anything leading up to getting hit by a car and being in the hospital. Come to find out, she has been dating 3 very different men who are all incredibly attractive and who all are totally wanting to commit to Peyton. Her friend lets her know that she was on the phone with her before her accident and she was going to tell someone that she actually is in love with them. Throughout the book, we follow Peyton as she begins to redate these 3 men to find out which one she is in love with. I said it a lot probably in my Valentine's Day romance reading for a week video. This book is so contrived, and that was like I think my biggest gripe with it. It was entertaining, it was enjoyable to read. I think though that my engagement was just so low because we have to trudge along through, like I know that this is gonna happen. I know that it's this person that she's probably in love with, that she's going to end up with, and it's all gonna be like happily ever after, and we just have to read the whole book to get there. Everything was just kind of, I don't know, stale for me. It was funny in parts, I will say that. It was, again, just a very lighthearted, easy read. So if you're in the mood for something that requires absolutely zero brain power, and you also just want something that's kind of humorous and very predictable, then this book is probably for you. There's not really any spice or anything. It's just very sweet. I would recommend this for like teens who want to read a romance book. I got through it and it was cute, is all I will say. Okay, so the next book is Hooked by Emily McIntyre. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. Hooked is a reimagining of Peter Pan, primarily in the context of if Wendy fell in love with Captain Hook. It is a modern day reimagining that is dual POV between Hook and Wendy. Wendy is young, she is rich, and she is just kind of going about her life, trying to take care of her younger brother, as well as just kind of finding herself. She works at a coffee shop and she has just a couple of friends, really just only one friend actually, and they go out to the town and meet Hook at the Jolly Roger, which in this world is a bar. Hook is a part of a drug ring that sells pixie dust, which I'm assuming is cocaine, but honestly, we never got clarification on that, but I'm assuming it is some type of like cocaine deal, because what else would pixie dust be as a drug? Hook, which is James, by the way, and as they meet, Hook is plotting for his revenge on Peter Pan, who is the owner of Neverlands. I'm butchering it, but it's Neverlands Airlines. can tell, there's a lot of like parallels of words and objects and places from the original Peter Pan story that are now kind of modern day twists in Hooked. As the story progresses, of course, it is kind of like a romance between Wendy and James, and they fall in love with each other throughout James's plan of seeking revenge against Wendy's father. So I rated this book 2 stars. I think that this book is definitely more of the like a dark romance rather than just a romance. This was a book that I also kind of envisioned it taking place in Neverland, and I was wrong. I was so wrong. But I think if you're like a dark romance reader, you'd probably enjoy it. I think it was fun. It was definitely like entertaining. It was a very quick read. It had me wanting to turn the pages because I'm like, what is happening? What is going on here? The drugs and the bad stuff going on James's end, and then also like the kind of backstory and tumultuous relationship that Wendy has with her father. There were just a lot of things that kept kind of like the interest high of what's going to happen here. I don't think it was like the best thought out, but I did enjoy it. I got a lot of laughs from it. I got a lot of like wide eyes of like, oh my God, what is happening? And yeah, 2 stars. Okay, the third book is A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. This is the first book in the Hades and Persephone reimagining kind of series. There's 7 books in total, which I totally got wrong. And you will see that in my next video because I thought it was just 3 books and I was very much so mistaken. So basically in this book, we follow along in first person of Persephone, who is going to college in New Athens. She is pursuing journalism and she gets this internship at New Athens News. And she's very much so looking forward to it, very much so excited. And she's having to keep her goddess identity a secret from all of the humans in New Athens. She then goes to a club with her friend and she meets no other than Hades himself. And Hades ends up starting, unbeknownst to Persephone, a little bargain with her where she has to come to the underworld pretty frequently in order to start life there. And from there on, we kind of follow their love story. And yeah, this book is very loosely based off of the original Hades and Persephone myth. It is a reimagining, not a retelling, which again, you'll find out in the next video. I was not aware of that. I did not do my due diligence in reading the synopsis of this book, which you guys should probably expect from me furthermore, because I don't really take it in. I just clicked. Anyways, I gave this book 2.5 stars. I enjoyed it. I think it was fun. It was cute. I truly believe that Hades was giving like book boyfriend vibes. He was a lot sweeter than I imagined him to be for the god of the underworld. And I didn't really expect there to be so much of a romance between them from the get-go, but there's a lot of tension. It kind of starts as like a little slow burn, but that slow burn is a full on fire pretty quickly as well. Yeah, the characters were pretty well developed. Scarlett St. Clair did a really great job at world building in this first book. The underworld and all of the magic systems were really, really cool. I think that they were just fun. They were inventive. I enjoyed that. It made me feel like I was reading like kind of Harry Potter at times. So I did enjoy that. I enjoyed Hades and Persephone's relationship. I think a lot of times it was just very wild to me how they went from like speaking to each other and then full blown like making out. So that kind of threw me for a loop. Again, if you're into that, you're probably gonna love this book because that's kind of what happens frequently. It wasn't entirely my cup of tea, I guess, but I did appreciate, again, just the magic system. I think it was a fun, different type of reimagining of Hades and Persephone if they lived more in modern times. I think this book could appeal for like dark romance readers as well as just romance readers. Yeah, let's leave it there. The next book on the list is Give Me Butterflies by Jillian Meadows. So Give Me Butterflies is a dual POV contemporary romance. We follow along Millie and Finn, who both work at the same museum Millie is an entomologist and Finn is an astronomer. So they work in different departments. They end up haphazardly running into each other in various different situations and start to have a newfound friendship and romantic tension. It is a slow burn, which I particularly like. I also enjoy the grumpy sunshine trope. I think if I am to read a romance book, it is I'm probably gonna gravitate more towards the grumpy sunshine trope because I just find it more entertaining and enjoyable. I will say for this book, this is kind of what I envision reading romances would be like the contemporariness, a certain type of trope, characters that are pretty well developed and just like cute, different types of meetings and dating and being around each other and slowly but surely falling in love. I did rate this book 3.5 stars. I actually really enjoyed it. I think the only thing was like halfway through the book, the sweet like banter or witty comments and comebacks that kind of like left the book, and what replaced it was just spice, really, and it seemed a little bit forced considering that the characters Millie and Finn had such a great dynamic going for them. That kind of threw me off, and I felt like we didn't need so much spice in this story because the characters were so strong in their interactions with one another and their whole dynamic was just really sweet. In this book, there's also more like interpersonal relationships with both Millie and Finn's family, and I really enjoyed that. I thought that a lot of the family dynamics were either really sweet or like, ooh, that's awful, and oh, that makes sense though for this character. So that added like a really nice depth to the characters that I really wasn't expecting after reading some of the other romance books that I already listed. Really enjoyed this book. I think if you are interested in reading romances or you like to read romances, you would probably enjoy Give Me Butterflies. I thought it was a cute read. The next book is Hidden Pictures by Jason, I'm gonna butcher his name, Rikulik? This book follows along the main character, Mallory. It is a first-person point of view, as Mallory is a recovering drug addict who is about 18 months sober, and she gets a job as a nanny for this family who has a son named Teddy. And as she begins her new employment, she notices that Teddy likes to draw, and his pictures become increasingly more disturbing as they center around his imaginary friend named Anya. This book is a thriller, almost like a mystery too, as Mallory tries to uncover what is happening with this imaginary friend, and some increasingly disturbing and creepy things occur around her within the home and for Teddy. I don't want to say too much more because I don't want to give anything else away, but I did rate this book 3.75 stars. I was very much so thrilled by this book. I did not figure out the twist that was going to occur because everything I was thinking of Mallory was also thinking of, so I was just disproven time and time again. Yeah, and the twist is definitely something. It's something. It was a very engaging and fast-paced read for me. I really enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't really love was like the writing style and a few of the characters. I think that like some of the characters were just kind of thrown in there, and it's like, okay, cool. What else are you adding to the story except to set up the plot? Which is a big pet peeve in I guess a lot of the books that I read this month. But besides that, I thought the writing was really good. I didn't really care for the writing throughout the book, and then at the end, it all made sense, and I was like, okay, that works. I enjoyed that little addition for why the writing was written in the way that it was. Okay, the next book is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. This book is a mystery, thriller, suspense. It follows along the main character, Nick, whose wife goes missing one day, and he is trying to find out if his wife is missing or if she was potentially murdered. This is a dual POV, so we also follow along his wife's perspective. it's really interesting because Amy gives like a kind of a backstory of Nick and Amy's relationship. We end up following along this trail of evidence that has been left to figure out whether or not she is missing or she is dead. And as the story progresses, Nick becomes more and more of a likely suspect of her murder. So I rated this book 4.25 stars. This book was absolutely incredible. I really enjoyed it, especially more towards the end. I think the first part of the book was so difficult to trudge through just because I absolutely hated Nick. I even made like a TikTok video about it because I was like, does this get any better? I am so pissed. I hate him. I hate Nick. And it does, and it does, and it does get better. Let me tell you that. And thank you all on TikTok who supported me throughout this very, very difficult journey because my Lord, Nick drove me nuts. But I will say that the story just twists and turns in every single direction. And I think it was so well done and so well thought out that everything just aligned perfectly and made so much sense. And it's so bizarre of a read. It was just mind-blowing. It was definitely an emotional roller coaster. I did have to take a little bit of a reading break after reading this one because I was just wrung out. Like it was something. But it was an absolutely great read. Again, just that first part was difficult for me to continue to be engaged in and enjoy just because I hated Nick so much. But you know, I'm just nitpicking. It was a phenomenal read. I really enjoyed it and would totally recommend it, especially if you're interested in reading a mystery or a thriller or something that has a lot of suspense in it. It was really, really great. Okay, you guys, we are now in the top 2. These books, I cherish these 2 books. They filled my heart, and they do go along with the theme of February of reading romances. And the second tiered book on this list is Pits and Poison by R. Rada. If you didn't know, this is the second book in the Peaches and Honey duology. This story follows along the main character, Anna. It is a first-person point of view as Anna eats an immortality-granting peach by a shape-shifting god. This series kind of reminds me of like Forrest Gump because there's so many things throughout history that are thrown in to this duology, and I really appreciated that because it takes this magical realism twist to historical events, and it was a really enjoyable read. There is a very long, centuries-long, slow burn romance between Anna and Chiron that is so heartwarming. It's so gentle. It's so pure. I rated Pits and Poison 4.75 stars. It would have gotten 5 stars. It was so close to getting a 5 stars, but there was one scene which literally Peaches and Honey and Pits and Poison is leading up to throughout this duology that it just didn't hit for me. I think that it was a little anticlimactic, but regardless though, I love the characters. I love the immortality trope. I love the slow burn. I love the relationship between Anna and Chiron. I love the gods and goddesses and the powers. We definitely get to see more magic as well as magical realism in the second book, and it was phenomenal. If you guys have not started this series, I would greatly recommend starting this series. I think romance readers would love it. I think romantasy readers will love it. I think even fantasy readers would love it, and also historical fiction readers would probably appreciate this book as well. Okay, and here we are, you guys. This is my top rated book for the month of February, and that is Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. I hope I'm pronouncing Olivia right. It might be Olivia, I don't really know. And the more that you watch my videos, you will see that I probably mispronounce almost everything. So Alone with You in the Ether is a contemporary love story that follows along a dual POV between characters Regan and Aldo. Aldo is a mathematician who's teaching mathematics at the local university, and Regan is an aspiring artist who works doing tours in a art museum. These two characters end up meeting and decide to have 6 conversations with each other in order to see if they can figure each other out and get to know each other. This book surpassed everything that I thought it would be. This book is absolutely sublime. I rated it 5 stars. This book was just, there are themes of mental health, mental illness, mental wellness. There are themes of just unconditional love, themes of, you know, not being loved, not being accepted, and kind of like what impact that has on a person, especially if they are struggling with their mental health already. And my dog is going crazy. This book had such intense longing, and not even for like just the characters, for each other, but for the purpose of being seen, for being known as each character is, and for having that solace of being themselves. And it was so, so beautiful. It was just, I mean, it's like just a tender hug. Like this story is. It's so sweet. I think the declarations of love between the characters is just impeccable. Just wow. I think the story in of itself is written so brilliantly as well. There's just so many different literary mechanisms and devices that have been used in this book, and I ate it up. It just surpasses any contemporary romance, in my opinion. I think it's a beautiful read. I think it is just what every work of fiction should probably aspire to be like, is Alone with You in the Ether. So absolutely just stunning. I'm debating rating it like 6 out of 5 stars. It's that freaking good. It's so, so, so freaking good. Anyways, you guys, that is the 8 books that I read in the month of February. I hope you enjoyed this little wrap up, and don't forget to comment down below what you read in February and what you would recommend me reading, or anyone really, in the comment section. Don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button for some more book related content. And until the next one, toodaloo.